You know, guys, of all the things I envisioned in the last few weeks going wrong here, me not being the right size for the podium wasn't one of them. But with my bifocals, I apologize to you guys whose names I muffed. I can't quite get close enough without losing the microphone. So we'll see what we can do here. I have a note at the top of my sheet here, just breathe. Ladies and gentlemen, let us begin. I have started every lecture I ever gave to veterinary students with that phrase, and now I have the opportunity to say it to you one last time. It is impossible for me to tell you how honored I am to be asked to speak to you on this day, this amazing day that you could not envision on August 25th, 2014. At 8 a.m. on that Monday morning, the very first hour of the very first day of the very first semester of your professional curriculum, I had the honor of standing in front of you and beginning your academic journey with a call to excellence. And today, I have an amazing privilege to see you on the way to the rest of your lives. And like 4 years ago, I'm going to make a call to excellence and ask you to make it a happy life. See, over the years, I've seen a lot of clinicians standing at this podium giving some very inspired advice to the newly minted veterinarians that have preceded you guys. And reflecting on that in the last few weeks, I have really struggled to imagine what I might say that could possibly be useful to you in your future careers. Because after all, I'm an anatomy professor, and I haven't practiced veterinary medicine for over 20 years. I probably couldn't be trusted to prescribe the right ear mite medication, let alone, manage your dog's diabetes or your cat's diarrhea or your horse's laminitis. I just can't. But I do want to take a moment, actually, to prove to your friends and family, to my esteemed colleagues and to the administration, that even a lowly veterinary anatomist has some lasting impact on the education of these veterinarians. I'm going to ask you an anatomy question. This is a pop quiz. They did not know I was going to ask this. Trust me. You're all going to answer in unison and boldly. Are you ready? What are cats made of? Thank you. Okay, so much as that very much gratifies me, even I have to admit that's probably not all that useful. So I'm going to take a different tack altogether and for just a few minutes talk about something a little more constructive than that. Something actually mentioned by your very funny speaker last night, Dr. Gomes. I want to talk to you about finding happiness, because finding happiness in unexpected places is one thing I really do know something about. You see, I'm extraordinarily happy teaching. Even on my worst days, I love teaching veterinary students. I just love the eagerness and the energy and the enthusiasm you bring to my classroom and to everything you do. Between the lecture hall and the teaching lab and the cubes, you guys and I spent a lot of time together that first year. Do you remember your first big exam of the curriculum? Yeah, I do, because I administered that exam. And I gotta say, most of you look a good deal more confident right now than you did then. In fact, some of you guys, I think, must have thought that was the biggest, scariest challenge you would ever face. And now, sitting where you are, looking back at it now, doesn't it seem like really small potatoes? Yeah, life's a lot like that. The challenges that are immediately in front of you always seem much bigger and much scarier for their closeness and their strangeness. So my first bit of advice to you in your quest for a happy life is simply this. Don't mistake mere inconveniences for real problems. Life is full of mere inconveniences. You can't somehow arrange your life so that you avoid them. And it's your attitude and your fear that determines whether or not they become real problems. Of all the liars in the world, sometimes the worst are your own fears. Now, with all its inevitable inconveniences and disappointments, and yes, real problems, this often seems like a very hard world in which to find happiness. You're entering a profession which justifiably prides itself on its generosity and its kindness. And because I'm surrounded in my life by veterinarians and people who are going to be veterinarians, it makes it easy to embrace this truth. that our mission in life is to leave our tiny corner of the universe just a little better than we found it. That means seeing to it that, inasmuch as it is possible, you recognize and ease the suffering around you and treat with compassion not just your animal patients, that goes without saying, but also the humans that we share this life with. So my second bit of advice in your quest for a happy life is this. In this very hard, sometimes very angry world where happiness and compassion always seem in such short supply, it is sometimes to just be kind enough necessary to be a little too kind. Make your corner of the universe a little bit better for your having been there. Choose to matter to someone. Happiness isn't usually built on a grand scale. It's created out of small moments, small deeds, doing the kind thing, practicing a little compassionate choice in your work and in your home life, and maybe especially in the moment-to-moment interactions with the people that you encounter. Now that kindness also, very importantly, extends to yourself. Now that you've finished your formal DVM curriculum, you may have begun to suspect that you can't possibly memorize enough stuff to be a veterinarian. There is no way to carry enough facts in your head to know just exactly what to do in every case, and maybe not even in most cases. So don't think it's a personal failure to have to ask a colleague or look something up. A lot of things, in fact, probably some things you think you probably ought to know. I once read a very insightful essay by a scientist named Martin Schwartz, who was reflecting on the moment in his doctoral training when he realized that it was normal to feel stupid. He said, "The crucial lesson was that the scope of things I didn't know wasn't merely vast, it was, for all practical purposes, infinite." Now that's a real moment of clarity, and for you who are in the position you are because of your exceptional ability to acquire enormous numbers of facts and ideas, what a difficult notion to embrace as fully as you must in order not to be plunged into self-doubt. What we don't know is, for all practical purposes, infinite. One of the most terrifying moments for the new practitioner arise when you see that really puzzling case and you just can't figure it out, and it walks out the door and you look around and you realize no one is going to post an answer key. Never again. You won't know it all, and once you accept that, you'll be liberated from the very cruel illusion that it's a sign of inadequacy not to know or even to be wrong, because unrealistic self-expectation is the enemy of happiness. So my third bit of advice, don't mistake not knowing for some sort of significant character or professional flaw. Be kind to yourselves. And that said, of course, I'm not giving you a pass on continuing to grow and to learn. Here you sit with the emblem of your knowing a whole lot of stuff clutched in your hot little hands. And so it's time to figure out what you're going to do next, in what new direction you're going to grow. To be sure, you can earn a paycheck neutering and spaying, cleaning ears and vaccinating, and if that's what you want, well, that's what you'll do. But you didn't get to where you are at this very moment by retreating into the familiar and the safe. So just look around. There are opportunities disguised as uncomfortable risks all around you, just waiting for you to go a little outside your comfort zone. Don't hamstring your potential and your future as it stretches out before you now by assuming that you're done with frightening growth and change. Yes, life is challenging. It's hello and it's goodbye. It's gain and it's loss. It's fear and courage. And it's wonderful. So go, explore, be more, and grow. And while you do this, practice kindness to yourself and to others. And if you do these things, you will cultivate happiness, and the uncertainties and the challenges and changes that are necessarily part of human existence will be easy for you. And so, my dear ones, I charge you, have amazing and happy lives. Now truly, ladies and gentlemen, doctors, let us begin.